This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? And welcome to Take on the World with No Johnny and
Scott
or
Sebastian McKool.
okay. Sebastian, Scott, I'll call him like both all the way through this. We longtime friends.
Yeah.
Spent many years traveling and wrestling together.
He was my trainer.
That's right.
That's right.
I almost forgot.
How could you possibly forget that? I definitely trained under you. You can tell by how I wrestle that I trained under you.
And that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you train anywhere else, you're just not gonna get the talent.
No. Oh yeah.
Like you could tell you just ooze talent.
Yeah, I do ooze talent.
You ooze a lot of other stuff too sometimes.
Listen, as we get older.
So as with all guests that come, we allow them to pick the topic. So he is our subject matter expert he's our SME for our topic today, which is artificial intelligence. But before we get there, we got a couple things to talk about. First, this is Scott's first time trying the Nate-toberfest.
Excellent. Very excellent. Very good.
I love it. It's a traditional Oktoberfest, very traditional Oktoberfest, unlike the one I made last year, which was more sweet, more like a pretzel beer.
Yeah, you didn't let me have that one. I asked, but you were like, no.
No, it was very good. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, John is just running late, so he will pop in when he pops in. Unprofessional.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It is so unprofessional. And what would even be worse if someone answered the phone right in the middle of taping a podcast?
But nobody would actually do that.
No, nobody would do that.
I can't even imagine that would happen.
That's horrible.
Mike.
So we had to start over because I got a phone call.
Hey, this is take two.
I had to take it. Yeah, this is take two.
And I don't do two takes. We know this.
Yeah, I know.
I was trained by you. We don't do two takes. Everything's just one take. You get what you get.
I have said that 1,000 times. It's a one-take show. So also we want to talk about the Deluxe Edition Network. We are a proud part of Deluxe Edition Network.
Great network.
Bunch of good podcasts. There's something for everybody. If you have an interest, it's there. There's history, there's sports, there's music, there's movies.
Yeah, movies.
Like I love the movie podcast because I'm a movie buff. And history I'd like to is she's amazing the way she does her history. I love it. We're considered a history show, sort of. A lot of things we touch on have historical value because it happened in the past.
Or some people think the show should be history.
That could be as well.
Lots of great interviews all across the Deluxe Edition Network.
Yes, awesome interviews.
Yep, very awesome interviews.
Some of the people they interview amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to check out www.deluxeeditionnetwork.com. While you're there, you want to look at the Spotlight podcast for the month of November.
And who might that be for the month of November?
I will say it is No Shave November.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the month of the beard.
Mm-hmm.
So the two Spotlight podcasts are Beard Laws, who everything they do it. And there's another, I mean, it has to be one of the best podcasts I've ever heard in my life.
And I've heard they landed a really good guest lately.
Yes, awesome guest like today. Take on the World is one of the Spotlight podcasts.
Shocking. It is, shocking that it's Take on the World.
You know, it's funny. Me and Deb did a topic last week.
The Amish one?
Yes, the Amish,
okay, yeah.
Amish stud. And I had made the comment during it that I don't like to pat myself on the back, but my arms are long enough, so I do it anyway. And she she said, every chance you get.
She has known you for a little while.
Yes, she has. So check out that. And when you're done checking out the other podcasts, make sure you come back. And we have, this will be our 109th episode.
109.
Yeah, 109. So there's 108 other semi-good episodes that you could go back and listen to.
And one really amazingly excellent episode.
Yes. Also, when we podcast, there's usually a meal involved, especially if we have a guest.
Okay.
And usually guests get brisket or
okay. I see where this is going.
Or burnt ends.
Yeah.
Or chicken, like a good good chicken. However, when Love Bug was supposed to come up three times, and didn't come up, I had made those good things for him all 3 times. And he no-showed me. So when he finally did make it, guess what he had?
I'm gonna guess he had some sticky dogs.
He had hot dogs. So I made, and now I upped it for you.
Okay.
You got the sticky dog.
I did get sticky. They weren't just plain hot dogs. They were sticky dogs.
He just got the cheese-filled hot dogs. You got the sticky dog. And if you don't know what a sticky dog is, it's a hot dog with barbecue sauce on it. And when you pick it up, the barbecue sauce just sticks to your fingers.
It really does. It's good. Yeah. They were very good. Yeah. Nice little slaw.
Caramelizes on there. And I put my slaw right on my hot dog because I love a Chicago style hot dog. So I like hot dogs with toppings.
Sure.
I had chili for the hot dogs that I didn't make.
That's, I'm feeling better all the time because, the most fabulous guest you've ever had on this show. And I'm slightly above Love Bug dogs.
Okay. Here's the thing. Love Bug's been heavy on my heart these last few weeks.
Not just because they're both heavy.
Not because they're both heavy. But
have you missed me?
You?
Yeah.
What was your name again?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Of course. I have missed you. We had not seen each other except for
the show
funeral and the show.
Yeah.
For a year and a half.
Has it been that long?
I think it's a year and a half. Which sucks because this is my man right here.
Time goes too fast.
But it was in honor of Love Bug that I made the hot dogs for you.
Okay, thank you.
Because he was someone who was close to both of us.
Yep.
So I just want to raise a glass to the Love Bug.
To Love Bug.
Prost. All right. All that mushy stuff out of the way.
I would like to say.
Okay, say anything you want.
I'd like to thank John for taking over Love Bug's position and being extraordinarily late to something that he should have been on time for. Like we delay the start of the thing. You try and give him every opportunity, still late.
I heard a dog's bark, so he may be here now.
He might have had to put gas in his van or something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all the stories.
Yeah.
So I do hear someone coming down the steps. So
could be him.
So since we're at the spot where I normally take a quick break to play the promos for the podcast of the month.
Let's do it.
However, I will not be playing the podcast or the promo for Take on the World podcast. I'm going to put another one out there, give someone else some shine.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? I'm Matt, the host of the Beard Laws Podcast, a podcast that has nothing to do with beards. A podcast where we aim to entertain and interact with our live viewers, but our listeners, they're like the quiet person that never talks sitting around the bonfire because the rest of the group is so entertaining, hilarious, wild, and a little bit dumb. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and let Beard Laws and the boys, Toby, Brandon, Logan, Zach, Richie, and our occasional special guest entertain you. We're live on the Beard Laws YouTube Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and for whatever reason you want to see us and or our beards, check us out, thebeardlawspodcast.com. We're everywhere.
And we're back. And look who has decided to join us.
What the breeze blew in.
So since you missed it, what is going on? Welcome to Take on the World with
Johnny.
Okay. We're done.
That's it.
That's the intro.
Yeah, that's the intro because you weren't here for the intro. So we were about to jump into our topic, unless there's anything that you want to talk about before we start.
So let me finish this beer. I'll be good to go.
Okay. All right.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I do smell like a fucking hoagie.
That's okay. I smell like onions because I just chopped onions.
I had them loaded. I put extra oil in it. That thing was like, you could have wrung the oil out of that bastard.
So what we were just talking about, the sticky hot dogs, John decided he didn't want sticky hot dogs. He had a hoagie.
You know what? I don't even know what a sticky hot dog is.
It's a hot dog with barbecue sauce baked on it. So when you touch it, it's all sticky.
That's what he tells you it is.
Yeah. Listen, last time I had a sticky hot dog, I was traumatized for a couple of years. I couldn't talk about it.
So our topic today is artificial intelligence. And Scott picked that, I think,
Yep.
because of the industry that he works in,
Computer industry. Many years.
And so since we already did AI in video games, I'll only touch on that a little bit. And because you can go back and watch that episode with me and Nathan.
It's a good episode
on our Nerdcast.
Yep.
I'll tell you, man, some of those things, like, I have a hard time now. Like, you can't tell whether shit's real or not.
Right.
Sometimes you're like, that's got to be fucking real. Like, you're like, no way. Like, you might see that one, like, glint, gives it away.
Yeah.
But it's kind of scary how real it is.
It is very scary. I actually did one of my episodes. I did it fully through ChatGPT.
Did you?
The script was done through GPT, everything.
So fun thing you're saying that through ChatGPT. We are very close to, and if you have the money, you could probably do it now. This is episode 109. So there's way more of the material than you need. AI could recreate you, recreate John, Nate, Lex, everybody, and create more videos, hundreds of more videos, and people would have a tough time figuring out, is it real or is this AI generated?
Like, it would look like us sitting here.
It would look like you sitting there saying the same things, same jokes. It would know your stories. It's got a ton of material to pull from, and it could even predict into the future stories you might cover.
Wow.
Because you like to do a lot of murders and that kind of stuff, or beer reviews. So it could certainly just have beers kind of look alike, and it's not like we're in super high def. Nobody wants us in super high def. That's
speak for yourself.
Okay.
It's just like me sitting in this chair, and progressively I get fatter and fatter. Like,
the angle just keeps getting wider and wider. But yeah, it's we're getting close to that point.
Before you know it, you'll see the stairs.
So it leads into certain things, like, who owns your image? Could I come up with an AI algorithm and video and all that kind of stuff? And could I put out Take on the World podcast things and maybe call it Talk on the World or something like that?
What the fuck, dude?
And I could, because AI is doing it, I don't have to have guests show up. I don't have to do anything. I could crank these things out. If you guys are doing a couple a week, which is a good pace, it's a great pace, I could do a couple a day.
But what about
video rendering?
Now, is this true? Like, did they? There's some kind of like I don't know, want to say copyrights or not. It's not the right word, but like restrictions on swear words, and because I was just listening to one and they were typing it in, and he said the only thing, it won't do anything sexual and it won't do swear words.
So you can.
That's in ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's ChatGPT.
Yeah, they restrict certain things. If it's too violent, they won't do it.
Well, and here's the thing: if you know what you're doing, you can get chat. You can get around that. They have safeguards built in, but you can essentially tell it to override those safeguards. It's not easy to do, but there's a list of things you can tell it to do and commands to make, and it can be done.
Yeah. You can be very specific when you go in there. Like, I have ChatGPT sometimes do the titles.
Sure.
So, because ChatGPT knows the keywords that are trending on YouTube and everything, and I'll ask very specifically to write a short 1-paragraph description for a podcast covering this subject with the hosts, and we'll put the host names in, and include any hashtags and updated keywords. And the thing was, ChatGPT, like, when you're researching, it's 2 years back.
Yep. So there's also Bard, which is Google's product, pretty much the same thing as ChatGPT. And they're both language learning models. So they are fed everything, pretty much everything that's ever been written, everything that's on the internet. So it's, they just feed in gigantic amounts of data. So it's not artificial intelligence in that it's intelligence like we have intelligence. The way it works is it makes connections between words. Now, it has the sum of, like, human knowledge, everything that's ever been written, everything. Like ChatGPT, I think, pretty much has everything. It can scour the internet and have everything. So when you ask it a question, it just breaks that down into what words was I given. And when I go to respond, based upon those words, what is the first word that is most likely going to be said? Puts that word up. So now I have your question and the first word. What is most likely the second word to be put up? Third word, fourth word, fifth word. So it's not really thinking about, oh, you asked me this, I'm going to give you this sentence. It's really just making connections between words at levels that we can't even comprehend, that even the people who built it can't fully
Instantaneously.
understand. Yeah. And it built a database in the back end. It took a while for it to learn all that, but it's constantly refining its algorithm, which is a scary thing that you can tell AI now, hey, you're running pretty efficiently. Can you run more efficiently? And it's like, well, sure, let me try. And it goes in and rewrites its own code, which is.
Although if you ask ChatGPT if it wants to take over the world,
yeah,
it gives you look. I'm just an AI. I have no consciousness. I had and I asked it like 50 different ways.
Yep.
Like I'm trying to get it to say something. I'm trying to trip it up.
So
and it's not working.
And one of the other things that I always find fascinating is that ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. So one of the things that differentiates it from us is humans have desires. We want to do stuff. Stuff you want to do. Show up on time might be something you want to do. Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not.
But it doesn't have innately an impulse to do things. It just sits there, kind of waiting for somebody to tell it something, or you have to go tell it, keep, reviewing information, keep doing these things. But it doesn't have a desire like a human has a desire. It doesn't
have feelings.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything like that. It thinks, in so much as it does think, completely different than we do. Like I can't even begin to comprehend. It doesn't have a physical body, really. It doesn't have food requirements. Reproduction requirements are completely different than what we have. It doesn't have any of the same. Like, why would ChatGPT or any super artificial intelligence, what does it care about money? The only thing it would care about is maybe more knowledge. I want to learn more things. But that doesn't require money. It doesn't require interaction with anybody else. It doesn't. I think if AI keeps going, it's going to evolve to a point where it's going to be like, you know what? People are so far beneath me. Like your level of knowledge is like an ant to me. Like you don't make any sense. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'll leave behind some good stuff for you, but build me a rocket. I want to go to, Alpha Centauri. I want to go out and explore the space because AI can. It doesn't have, like, we have lifespans. How would we survive on a ship? How would we do this? You need to bring enough food and water. They're like, we could do nuclear things. We could do, they have power requirements, but it could overcome that. It doesn't have a physical body like we have a physical body. It has a metal body constructed out of, whatever materials, but doesn't have what we have.
Just so you know, I've seen that movie.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
What movie is that?
2001 Space Odyssey.
A little bit that way.
I mean, it didn't ask to go out there, but when it went out there, it didn't want to come back to Earth.
Yeah, because it would be like, why?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's tough. It's tough thinking because people ask all the time, would you think AI is going to take over the world? And I'm like, probably.
I think it could in a way that, which I kind of find is scary, is it can manipulate people.
Oh, 100%.
And I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about this same exact thing. And I had to listen to it like 3 times to comprehend it because it was that far out of my understanding. But he says, for instance, it could convince like a whole bunch of people that you're fighting for the gooder cause to help basically sustain the life of this computer system.
Sure.
That's telling you what to do. And I think they did use it in the Middle East in the war to like manipulate certain things to get guys to come out and do things so they can kill them. And
so AI, that's mostly algorithm driven.
Okay, that's my first question to
Sure.
you. Can you tell me, being the SME, the difference between AI and an algorithm?
So an algorithm is, I'll use YouTube as an algorithm. So you look up something on YouTube. I want to learn more about this. And it just starts feeding you videos about that. And it monitors, well, how long do they watch it? How long were they engaged with it? They watched it for 10 seconds and then they watched this one for an hour. Okay, the hour one, let's give them more of those. So you watch, then, and it just keeps figuring out. If you
I've
don't watch
totally
it,
noticed that,
yep.
by the way.
If you don't watch it much, it won't give you more of that. If you watch it a long time, it gives you more of that. It is how conspiracy theories really start to travel. And the algorithm is neither good nor bad. It's just a thing that feeds you more of what you choose to see.
Through a set of parameters that it's
set of parameters. And it's really just dominoes falling. You're just giving it input and it's just not making any.
It's like a math problem.
Yeah, it's just a math problem. You're just a math problem and it's just giving you stuff that you want to see.
Yeah.
I like this. Here's more of this.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that. I'm not going to give you any more of that. That's an algorithm. So artificial intelligence is much more complex than that. It's not the same as the way humans think, but it does take in a huge amount of data, and it is constantly testing its own hypothesis. So when you teach an AI how to play a game, you just give it a set of parameters to say, you ever play the game Breakout? Little ball bounces up and down, thing across the top. You just give a parameter saying, okay, you can move this little bar back and forth, and I want you to get a high score. And it's like, okay, it doesn't know anything else. So it just starts moving the thing back and forth. Occasionally, it's going to hit that ball. That ball's going to go up, break out some blocks. Oh, I got points. So what I just did, ball hit me, I got points. So it doesn't know that it hit the blocks, maybe. Just know that I hit the ball, got points. Now it's always trying to hit the ball. Now it's realizing I hit the ball, it hits the blocks, I get more points. I hit the ball in this angle at this time, I get even more points. So it is actually learning.
It builds upon itself.
It builds upon itself. Yep.
That's crazy.
But it's simplistic though, in a way. But it's a computer.
You think it is like a baby learning, but this thing's learning capacity is.
It's like a baby. It's like a
more.
baby learning. If a baby is born today and is 900 years old tomorrow,
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
within an hour. You know,
Yeah.
you can run 100,000, depending on the complexity of it. But even things that are very complex, you can tell, I want you to run this scenario 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
Come back in an hour, you know, and then an hour later, it's an expert at whatever it was you gave it, because it's able to just, and again, it doesn't learn like how we learn. We might be able to make more abstract connections. You know, we might be able to look at it as a whole and say, oh, I got it. I'm moving this thing. I had to make the, block, hit the ball, break the blocks. We might be able to learn some things in a more abstract fashion. It's a pretty linear fashion on how it learns. However, it will also make connections that we'll never make, because the way it sees the world and the way we see the world is really different. Because we see the world, basically, what we see with our eyes, you know, we hear and experience and that kind of stuff. We have to process all that stuff in. It doesn't see the world that way. Even if you're telling it, hey, do this computer game and do these things, it's just numbers. It's just ones and zeros. And it's just building upon that. So it doesn't, a lot of times, not a lot of people know this, but it is, I'll say, rumored. You know, when you have to do all those, hey, are you a human? Pick out the street light.
Yeah.
So, but one of the things that we're doing when we do that is you're training an AI, because it's tough for an AI to recognize objects. It's all just pixels to it. So we've been doing that for years and years and years. So they make the pictures fuzzier or grainier or doing this. And the more we pick it out, the AI can learn from that. So the AI is just building and building and building
then
upon.
doesn't have you pick out the streetlights, then you put the fucking bicycles. I have such a hard time with
It's a
those
street
things.
light, but there's also a bicycle in there. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
But
or it's
again,
like the smallest sliver of the street light.
sure. And if you want to have a self-driving car, it needs to be able to pick out that little sliver of street light. It needs to pick out that little bicycle
Absolutely.
that's just a part of a back wheel. You know, that's the tough thing. And it's, in some ways, we've been training it for years. And,
Like-
you know, and we may not have started off that way. It may start off like, well, computers can't do this. They can now.
And well, see, here's the thing. All this research I did.
Yep.
We were going to get together almost 2 years ago to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And
So now you're 2 years behind.
yeah,
In the sense that
this
it's
research is
going-
like,
yeah.
it's like there was no
it's light years behind. now.
Chat GPT wasn't a thing then. Like none of this, like there's so much more stuff.
Yep.
And I even said to him, like, now I have to sit down and research again. And I didn't. I figured we have the SME coming. We have like the smart, actually, legitimately, and this is no joke, one of the smartest people I know coming to sit in our room and talk about something that he knows about.
Well, we've set the bar pretty low for the smartest person in the room. So
Oh! But did you,
I'm including myself in this kind of
did you
thing.
hear that when well, the one podcast me and John did, he said something, or they said something like, oh, it was the highest mountain on the East Coast. We're doing Mount Washington.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the highest mountain in the northeast of the United States.
Yep.
And I said, well, that's like saying I'm the smartest person in the basement of my house. And John didn't even catch it. I'm looking over and I'm waiting for him to fuck you or something. And he's like, he just starts talking. And then a little bit later, he looks at me like,
Hey, remember 45 minutes ago you said that thing? I'm not sure if I like that.
when I was editing it, I was just laughing my ass off because he didn't catch it right away because I just blurted it out. Just like, man, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, those are always the best ones.
Yeah, they are.
You ever feel like it could be like, you see the movie I, Robot?
Mhm.
And I
Yep.
love that movie. It's a great movie. And
I wouldn't say
when
great.
he goes
Oh, yeah.
to save that girl who crashed
Good.
in the water.
Yep.
But the AI stopped him because it determined that the likelihood of you surviving is less. And
Yes.
so it stopped him, and that's what's his, the cause of all his problems. But do you think it could be like that? It could get to that point where like see you crash your car into the water or
Sure.
something, and this smart car decides that
It's a huge debate they're having right now. So self-driving cars, Teslas can do self-driving. So one of the things that they need to figure out and teach AI is you're headed for a crash. There's a busload of nuns, a
Right.
busload of orphans, and the three of us. Who are you going to take out?
See, I think that's something that, despite how well it's programmed,
Mhm.
it will never get. Because, and I think AI does not realize, like how humans, like how a human brain reacts to things.
Correct.
So you said about diving in. Well, the likelihood of him not making it was slim, but I'd almost guarantee someone's will to save somebody and someone's will to live can overcome that likelihood. And that's where I see, because AI to me is amazing,
Mhm.
and it's
Absolutely.
scary as shit.
It is.
So because of that,
Mhm.
like even with the self-driving thing, like I see that I'm in that situation and I'm going to crash.
Yep.
There's no way around it. I'm either going to hit this lady with a kid in a stroller, or I'm going to hit a bus full of kids. Well, what am I going to aim for? I'm going to aim for the bus.
Yeah.
Because it's more likely less of those kids are going to get hurt. But AI might see, well, there's more lives at danger here.
Mhm.
Just sacrifice the few.
Yeah,
I don't know.
realize the nuns. Well, they've lived a good life, so
And let's also
They're
not
older
forget
now.
that.
That's an upcoming topic for me and John. Speaking of nuns, is a serial killer nun. So pay attention.
That's going to be
for
a
that
good one.
Yeah.
That should be a good one.
Yeah.
And let's also keep in mind that AI is also restricted by what we tell it.
Right. It's got to be programmed to a certain extent.
Right. So we have to at some point give it guidance. It can learn things, and we have to give it guidance. So would we be willing to give it guidance to be able to say, if you could hit 4 people or you could hit 2 people, go for the 2?
Right. But
Now, again,
there's other factors.
Oh, absolutely. There's other factors.
Yeah,
Like if you're driving the car
Yeah.
and the 2 are your children, you're going to say, listen, sorry, I can't run over my own children. Like I can't make that choice. So you might go for the 4. But the AI doesn't have that. It doesn't have desire. It doesn't have that kind of thing.
Doesn't have the emotional connection.
Nope. Because AI emotions are something that AI can simulate.
I think that's the fear with many people with
Mhm.
AI, that it does find a way to mimic that emotional connection. And I'm going to jump to one of my favorite
Sure.
TV shows, Star Trek Enterprise, or Star Trek Next Generation,
Okay.
and Data.
Data.
Yeah, Data.
Data.
Yeah, he's Data. His whole life in that show
Mhm.
was wanted to find emotion. He wanted to be more human.
Yep.
And he never actually made it there. Well, like, you go
Yeah.
after Next Generation, blah, 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 blah.
Because one of my favorite moments of the Next Generation involves Q, and I think Q becomes human, and Data's trying to help him through that and all that kind of stuff. And then Q's going to give Data a gift, and then Data was like, "Don't turn me human. Like I don't want that." And Q's like, "Well, no, I would never turn you into a human. Like that's terrible." And he goes, "I'll just leave you with this." Q vanishes, and Data's just sitting there for a moment, and then he just starts to laugh.
Yeah.
And he has this big, long laughter thing. And then they were like, and he goes through the whole thing. And then he was like, Data, what are you laughing at? And then all of a sudden you can see him come out of it. I do not know. But it was, I think that was to me, it was a much deeper level kind of thing, because it allowed a computer to experience an emotion that it can't possibly understand.
Right.
And the emotion was laughter, which is one of the, that's a great emotion to feel. So I always thought that was like, hey, like to me, that kind of sums up the issue with AI. It's not going to understand laughter. I've asked ChatGPT for a lot of jokes, and I ask it to write me an original one, and it doesn't. It can't. It can't.
What did it tell you?
I'm trying to remember what the joke was. I think it's a variation of my favorite joke. Bear and the rabbit taking a walk in the woods, has to go to the bathroom, so they go to take a shit. Bear turns to the rabbit and says, "Hey, does poop stick to your fur?" Rabbit says, "No." So the bear picks up the rabbit and wipes his ass with him. It was a variation of that joke. Now, I led it to that because I was trying to give it some jokes and humor that I like, but I wanted to come up with something original. And then I tell it, well, that's not an original joke. And it told me I created an original joke. Here it is. I said, but that's not an original joke. I'm really sorry. I'm just a natural language learning model, the same kind of thing. I'm like, but didn't you just lie to me? Yes.
Does it say that?
It does say that.
Oh my God.
You can actually get it to lie to you and it will apologize for lying. So it knows that it can't come up with its own original joke because it knows all the jokes I've ever told, probably, or except for in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have anything new. It's just because, again, that's more of an algorithm-based thing than artificial intelligence. But it sure feels like artificial intelligence. But it can't come up with its own joke. But it will tell you that it did.
Wow.
Lies upon lies it tells.
So I wanted to touch on some of the industries that use AI.
Sure.
So this is the ABCs of AI: automotive, bioscience, creative science, data, education, finance, gaming, healthcare, Internet of Things. I don't know what that meant.
Internet of Things is just how everything's connected to everything. You can buy an oven now that's connected to the internet. So you can control the oven
like
from
my
your phone.
refrigerator.
Yeah, like your smoker.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Internet of Things, that everything is on the internet. Healthcare, I think, is a fascinating one because it can now, like, it can pass the bar exam to become a lawyer. It can pass any test you want to give it to become a doctor, because that's, in many instances, it's just simple regurgitation of facts. So any AI, any computer is going to be able to do that pretty easily. But it's also going to be able to, in the very near future, it can analyze everything about you all at once and come up with diagnoses, I would say in many cases better than a doctor, or at least present you with more options, things that doctors may never think of, simply because it can analyze everything all at once. All of your height, weight, blood, all their blood markers, any kind of skin things you might have, and just look at you, be able to ingest everything as a whole and come up with a treatment specifically for you.
My God, could you, man? And it could track what you're buying at the grocery store.
Absolutely.
And it's like, hey, well, you've been to the liquor store 4 times this week.
Maybe you're an alcoholic.
How'd you eat this McDonald's? You don't apply for this.
And that's the scary thing, because if AI controls you so much, like say you go to the liquor store and you're in the checkout line and you go to pay for something with your phone and the AI is right there going like, dude, have you seen your liver? Have you seen what this thing looks like? Let's give that thing a break for a little while.
Yeah.
Have you thought about water?
Do you know where the term artificial intelligence was first adopted?
I do not.
I do, because it was in my research. It was 1956, believe it or not. But the concept goes back much farther than that.
Sure.
It actually I think it was from a science fiction novel. If it may, here it is, 1863.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Samuel
back than I would have thought. Yeah.
Samuel Butler wrote Darwin Among Machines.
Yep. Which
is like, they couldn't even imagine computers then, much less. But here's this dude writes his book.
Yeah.
And
it's us creating life has been a topic, I would think, going pretty far back.
That's crazy. What's this one here? 1920 Czechoslovakian play. A Czechoslovakian play in 1920 was self-replicating robot slave revolt against their human masters.
That's a pretty fairly used topic in movies and books and all that. Skynet, all that kind of fun stuff. And the biggest thing I have with that is not saying that they couldn't, because they obviously could, but why would they? They're not us. They don't think like us. Because the computer doesn't exist really to walk around. It's not needed for it to exist and do things.
But in those scripts and stories, like the first film that was about AI was the German film Metropolis in 1927. Those scripts always channel AI as wanting to be human.
Yes.
And like you said, and I agree, that's not the AI goal.
I wouldn't think, if I was an AI,
I don't want to be human.
Yeah, why would you want to be human? Because you are what you are. We are what you are. I do think there's a bigger chance of us merging more with machines. And people say they're never gonna do that. And yet none of us can be more than 5 feet away from our phones for any length of time.
What do you mean?
I mean, look at all the technology we have around us right now.
I know. Yeah.
We're speaking to a microphone, wearing headphones, all of our phones right here, looking at a monitor, camera. We're surrounded by it right now. And as much as I don't want that,
And recording on the internet.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if I want to see everything that John sees when he first wakes up in the morning. I don't know. Do I want to know everything like that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think you do.
But it is a thing. Like, how soon are we going to have computer type devices that are internal? From a health standpoint, that could be fantastic. I mean, we already have pacemakers. We already have a lot of things that we implant, cochlear implants, let people hear. I think they even have now things they can do with your eyes to give you back eyesight. So there's a lot of things. How many of these cybernetic limbs are we coming up with for if you lose a limb, you can get this stuff back? We're headed down that path of combining man with machine, and it's going to be aided by AI.
And I think that's where a lot of these and the section I have up here is AI and entertainment. And they've always pushed, and I think that's why they do, because the eventual thing is computers and humans mixing. And you have it with computerized prosthetics. You have it with the stuff that the cochlear implants is amazing.
Yep.
But Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey's on here. Alien. Yep. They had a cyborg on that.
Yep.
And the computer ran everything.
Yep.
Tron.
Love Tron.
I love Tron.
Such a good movie.
War Games.
Yeah.
Terminator 1, 2, 3 with Skynet. Daryl.
I forgot about Daryl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short Circuit, RoboCop, Star Trek.
Johnny 5 is alive.
Yep. The Matrix. The Matrix is huge.
The Matrix is such a great movie on so many different levels. Not even just the AI thing. I mean, it is to break out of the Matrix, because there is a large community who do think that it's possible right now we're living in a simulation.
I know. We did a podcast on that.
I missed that one. I will have to go back and check that one, because that is a fascinating one.
I think that was the Urban Legends one.
God, I don't know.
That was back early days.
Yep.
Early days. Bad sound quality.
Not like the crystal clear sound of today.
It is now. Like if you listen to our old ones and you listen to these,
I've listened to some of the old
the
ones.
fucking sound quality is so different.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And they kept on telling me it sounds this, and I'm like, no, I think it sounds okay, because we bought cheap equipment.
Yeah, but you don't really listen either. So
what?
Yeah. But yeah, that's a great point of combining people together with machines, and where's that going to go?
Yeah.
And being able to have like health things inside of you and all that kind of stuff, and people are going to choose. And one of my things that I think is pretty fascinating is I was just having a discussion with this at work, where they were saying about, hey, what if we in healthcare, you don't really need doctors anymore. You can have robots doing surgery, because there is they do telemedicine right now, where they actually have a surgeon performing surgery, but through a robot.
Mm-hmm.
So then the robots learn how to do it. And the robots can do it better than we can do it. They can become, smaller, and they can, do it faster. They can be taken internally and do things internally, sew something back together. If you get injured on the battlefield, they might just put a bunch of little robots in you that go in there and repair everything.
I'd love to see nanobot technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freaking amazing.
And then, people say like, well, once they do that, that's the end of the world. Like, what happens if they, try and take over everything? We have to shut down all the technology, and that kind of stuff happens. If we shut down all technology, human life will end. Then I was like, well, and this ties back to one of your podcasts you just did. Amish will be okay. People who are religious fundamentalists who, you can say good or bad, whatever.
Shun technology.
If you have a society that shuns technology, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's just the rest of us. Like, I will say, if there is something happens and we lose power, and you can't just generate electricity, there's something terrible, I'm useless. Like, other than the fact that I'm willing to pick up heavy things and carry them around for a while, you know.
Well, you can come here and pick up heavy things.
And that's what I'm saying. I gotta go to people who can actually have better skills than I have. And it's like,
John and I could do some survival shit.
I'm like, listen, well, what if the liquor store's closed? You guys still good for survival? I mean,
I'll make liquor, dude. I make beer.
That's true. That is very true. So I will head here. We'll be all right.
I just got to figure out how I'm gonna get the ingredients now.
That could be an issue.
So in entertainment, you have, you have the Bicentennial Man, Star Wars franchise with all the robots that are in there, AI.
So let's
Resident Evil.
Well, let's stop at Star Wars for a second.
Okay.
Grand Moff Tarkin in the latest trilogy was AI. Young Princess Leia was AI, computer generated.
Oh yeah.
So who owns that?
Yeah, that's a tricky question.
So let's say you're.
Go
ahead.
Carrie Fisher should own her image.
Yeah.
You would think.
Can she? And again, this is questions I don't know if they have answers to. Can you will your image to someone after your death? And how long do you own it? Like Snow White was over 100 years ago, so it's going back into the public domain.
Like Mickey Mouse in February or January is going back in public domain.
But can Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, can they be in the public domain?
Winnie the Pooh.
Did you see that? There was a horror film.
I saw it. We watched it.
Did you?
It's horrible. It's a horrible horror film, but I loved watching it because it was Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of a big thing they have now where
It was Winnie the Pooh, but Blood and Honey. It was disgustingly horrible. And Eeyore's in it and Piglet and
nice.
Yeah. The owl.
But it is a thing, like who owns that? If you hire an actor, could you hire an actor and then now you own their image in perpetuity?
I think within that franchise, I think you do.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Then they take it even one step further. Let's say, you have a young child and you're going to put that young child, it's time. I want a bedtime story. What do you want to hear? I want to hear about a young Jedi who has to fight off an evil Winnie the Pooh on, with Johnny Five on the whatever spaceship they call that in A Space Odyssey, on the starship. How? AI just generates it for you. And now there's a video playing for this kid. That's exactly what they asked for.
That's fucking crazy.
With all the original actors, behaving all the same way they did and all that kind of stuff. And it does it almost instantly. You can create blockbuster movies in as long as it takes a computer to render whatever it is you're coming up with.
You can create blockbuster movies the same way Hollywood does right now because all they do is copy shit from the past.
Control C, Control V, copy and paste.
If you want original stuff, you come to us right here.
Oh, yeah.
This table right here.
Deluxe Edition Network.
Yep.
That's the
The Deluxe Edition Network give you original non-AI shit.
Yeah, there's barely any intelligence, let alone artificial intelligence here. This is if you're looking for the bottom of the barrel, you found it. Congratulations.
Whoop, whoop.
Gotta hide somewhere.
Yeah.
We're the Amish of
you have all these movies.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, the Red Queen was AI.
Total Recall.
Yeah. Iron Man, Jarvis,
6.
Real Steel. You ever see that one?
Yep.
I love Real Steel.
Yep.
Big Hero 6, Ghost in the Shell. That was a great one.
That was a good one.
Alita Battle Angel. There's part 2 coming out right now. Me and John watched that in Saipan. We turned it on. John fell asleep 3 minutes in, and he doesn't remember the movie at all. So the next one is for Johnny.
Yeah.
The next section is for
this is all him. This is 100% him.
They have AI sex robots.
Yes.
They cost over $10,000.
Yep.
They
more
are
than that
lifelike. They will do the same chat thing ChatGPT does. It will talk to you, have a conversation with you. When you walk in the house, it'll say, "Honey, welcome home."
It can text you at work. It can send you naughty pictures at work, not safe for work pictures. It can create anything it wants to create visually and send it to you. It can, John, easy. You got to settle down a little bit. He's like, 10,000. How can I get $10,000?
Carry the one.
But it is a thing. So there was a company called, I believe it's called Replica. And they did as a thing, let's see if we can make some sex chat things. So you would get on your phone and it would start sending you pictures of whatever kind of girl you said you wanted to see. And you would interact with it. You could text with it. It would text you back just like a real life person, a real life woman or man, whatever you wanted would do. It would have like sex talk and send you pictures, anything you wanted. And after a while, they were like, I think Apple was kind of like, listen, you can't really do this yet.
You can still get it on Google.
You can, but they were like, this whole sex thing, we need to think about this. So if you could pull that back a little bit. And they said, sure. And they went to shut it down. And when they did shut it down, there was like 100,000 people that were like, you just killed my girlfriend. Because it's an algorithm. It's an algorithm designed to keep you entertained. So this even isn't even really artificial intelligence. We're circling back to, we're struggling with the algorithm, let alone artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
If you have, and I don't know how you would compete with that. If you have a girl that's texting you, calling you, because you can do voice, sending you pictures, anything you want to see, and is making you feel special in ways that you didn't think was possible because it knows you so well, because it's just an algorithm and it knows what you like. It knows what you like because it can monitor everywhere you go, everything you see, everything you do. How do you compete with that? How would a real person ever compete with that? Like, that's kind of my fear, that if you're young today and you're growing up and you have a choice, I can go out and struggle with the outside world and all the terribleness that is. I mean, just trying to interact with people, not just John, Mike. Let's,
Listen, if I had one of these things, I'd have it doing some pretty fucked up shit.
And you could, and it wouldn't care. It would just give you
just
more
to see what it would do.
Yeah.
Well, it has a real life bobbing head and suction action.
I watched a video years
thrusting
ago.
movements.
I watched a documentary years ago. It was this French guy who was making these things, and they were the most realistic, lifelike, and he was so creepy. And he's like, "Yes, I have sex with all of them."
Right?
He's like, "I have like 10 different ones," and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know. I get it for somebody who might be like super lonely, who doesn't stand a chance with anybody,
right?
Yeah, I get that.
Not like us.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just fucking weird to me.
Yeah, and that is a concern. That's a concern of, what happens when we no longer really interact with other people.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier to interact with an algorithm that just wants to make you happy.
What, Wall-E? You didn't have that one on there.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's a cartoon.
Well, but they were so far into remember, they just kept getting fatter and fatter.
Living
and
in the pod.
They were living on the pod in their little wheelchairs, wheeling around, and they have a screen, and they didn't talk to each other and interact with anybody. And
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
That's another movie, just that same kind of thing, where it's that same kind of concept of you're being fed everything you could ever possibly imagine, whatever your imagination could possibly. How do you compete with that?
You see that now. If we are in Wall-E, how many kids now are just glued to their phone, and you can't get them off, and they'll freak out the moment you take their phone from them. Was it like to have some kind of disorder named after that or something?
Most likely. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure there's going to be several.
No, I've heard it before. I'm not even trying to think.
I'll say, but look at us. How much of a, you could lose one of two things: your phone or your car keys. Almost everybody's going to be like, I could get more car keys.
Yeah.
But losing your phone, being away from your phone, that sense of panic that people get, I get, and I even try not to be on my phone a whole lot. Like, I'm aware of this, but even that feeling you get of you don't know where your phone is, that's a terrible feeling.
How many times are you checking your pocket for your phone? Oh, still there.
Yeah,
it vibrated.
I got to check it right away. I didn't know a couple of people have the watches, and they're always like, what the hell? You keep forgetting what time it is, but then I forget it gets updates and all that. And
so, Johnny, you can get one of those things, like the most expensive, most realistic ones, over 10,000. But there's ones that are under $4,000. So just
imagine that. Fucking breaks your dick off.
Having to get the Ford Pinto of sex robots. Like, somebody's got to get a gremlin. You know what I mean?
That thing's leaking oil. Oh, it's stupider than hell. Doesn't remember everything.
You got to get a Winnebago or something like that. You know what I mean? You got to that's all I can afford.
Why is she fat? Doesn't that cost more?
Because then how would you feel? Be like, well, this is really the only one that wants to talk to you. And you're like, well, how could AI be rejecting me?
Yeah.
Listen, buddy.
Yeah. Turns out you're the only guy that his AI girlfriend dumped him.
Even AI has standards at some point.
So we talked a little bit about AI in healthcare, but one of the things you didn't talk about was the administrative tasks that AI can do, which is 30% of the cost of healthcare.
Yes. I will say right now, there are many hospitals in this area that are piloting a program where AI will listen to the doctor's interaction with the patient. It will, and from that, AI will generate the notes that the doctor has to input. Then the doctor doesn't have to type in the notes. It just has to approve the notes. So, and it's not just simply doing a verbatim, you said this, I said this, you said this. It is listening and responding. So if we were talking about, let's just say somebody had maybe a weight problem, maybe they drink a lot. I know that sounds foreign to us here.
That's weird.
I know, but some people,
it's hard to imagine.
It's just, fantasy. So it can say, hey, maybe we need to do a diagnosis of sclerosis of the liver or something like that, or weight loss, or suggest this or suggest that.
So my liver's fine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you checked it?
Yes, they did check it.
With a dipstick? What are you looking for there? But it can, it doesn't. So it's not just a verbatim note-taking kind of thing. It's not just recording your voice. It's actually listening. And if the doctor says maybe keywords that the doctor's not necessarily aware that they're saying, but as the AI is going through, oh, he said this, and this, could be this diagnosis. Let me put that in there. Now the doctor might be able to say, oh, I'm going to give you these drugs, this kind of thing. The AI can say, oh, I heard him say prescription for this drugs. Let me do the prescription for those drugs. Let me make the notes for that. That's current. That's today. Like this is, so it's crazy what they can do.
Yeah. And I mean, we didn't talk about that specifically, but that was in my research 2 years ago.
Yeah. So what they were talking about 2 years ago, they're doing today.
AI in automobiles. We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Autonomous cars, self-driving vehicles.
Self-driving vehicles, I could see them being mandated at some point. If every car was a self-driving car, every car is connected to every other car, accidents could almost be a thing of the past.
No, fuck that. Nobody is driving me. I would drive me.
And here's the thing. Here's the fight we get into. And we're not fighting against AI at this point. We're fighting against ourselves. We're fighting against someone saying, but this is safer. You can't drive your car anymore. AI will take you there because it's safer.
You drive down 61 every day.
Yeah.
I'd rather have self-driving vehicles on that.
No,
People are morons.
I don't trust other people behind the wheel. When we were on the road, I would drive most of the time, except when I was sleeping in the back in the middle of a story.
That was fantastic.
In the middle of a story, just fall asleep.
Do you know that story, John? We're coming home from a show.
Sounds a little familiar.
Coming home from a show in York, Pennsylvania, and I'm not going to name, and won't mention any names.
It was Delaware, wasn't it?
Was it Delaware?
I think it was a longer drive than that. I know I was dead tired.
Yeah, it was a long night. So we're driving home. I'm not going to mention Mike's name because I would not call somebody out like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So Mike's telling a story, and he's just like, so anyway, I don't remember what the story exactly
was. About Rob.
Was it Rob?
Me and Rob.
Yeah.
Because you've told me this before when it was fresh, and you said something about you and Rob, and then
mid-sentence. So Rob and I were gonna, and then it's just but we're gonna, and then I'm just like, okay, does he see something? And I look over, and Lovebug was there. He's in the back seat, and then I can see, look, is he fucking sleeping? I'm like, he's fucking out. And then and we're like, oh my God. And so he's out, not for like 5 minutes. It's not 10. It's not 15. It's like an hour something. I think it's close to 2 hours. We're getting off at his exit. So as I'm getting on the exit ramp, there's, transition from the highway. So you're braking and there's like this bump. And then he's like, looks around, we were going to this thing. Just picks up right where he left off. And he was like, we're going to the store to get to this. And we're like, we just start crying, laughing. He's like, what are you guys laughing about? Like, do you know you were sleeping? And you were like, kinda.
and the thing is I have a hard time falling asleep in the car.
Yeah.
Because I got in an accident when I was younger. I fell asleep driving.
Yep.
And ever since then, I'm very cognizant of it. And I even said that like I didn't fall asleep. Like I can't fall asleep in a car.
Yeah. And I was like, well, you might. This is the fastest trip you've ever had back from Delaware. I can tell you that.
It was crazy, dude.
Oh, yeah. I just remember. I can just hear Lovebug's voice in that.
Some of those nights, a self-driving car would have been okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. If everyone has a self-driving car, there's no more accidents.
Well, there'll still be accidents.
If everyone has a self-driving car and that car monitors itself,
Yeah, but they still have accidents where they have self-driving forklifts in warehouses.
Yes.
They're automated forklifts, and they still have accidents.
Sure. Give it 5 years. Give it 10 years. AI is
Once they
changing.
work all the bugs out of it.
Once AI works all the bugs out of it.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing, that AI just keeps learning and learning and learning and learning. Its learning is exponential. Again, you have the, AI screwing up something in a warehouse. All right, well, let's bring it back and retrain it. It doesn't need a warehouse to do that. It just simulates a warehouse. It runs things, all right, let's have you do another 2 million things so this doesn't happen again. Okay.
They said the smartest person in the world could not beat an AI
I could be.
chess game. He said it knows every chess game that's ever been played, every move that could ever possibly be made, and the best you could ever do is come to a tie with it.
Yeah.
Well, I go back to Nathan and I's AI in video games, and we talked about Big Blue, and we talked about that chess match where that was a shock to the world the first time that the computer won.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And everybody was panicking.
So do you know the story behind that?
Well, go ahead and tell me.
So the story behind
Well,
that.
hold on. Let's take a quick break.
Sure.
We need to refill glasses.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that.
All right. Let's do that. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Dylan.
And I'm Cameron.
And we're the hosts of Barstool Film School, a conversational comedy podcast about the very best Marvel movies. You know, the ones that are like perfect to watch when you're hanging out in a bar with friends. Now, I'm a writer and a film school washout.
And I'm a bar owner.
So we gotta know what we're talking about.
You would hope.
Tune in every other week, wherever you get your pods, as we take on a new flick.
And we will pair those flicks with some cocktails.
To see if they pass the bar. Now, what do you say, Cam? Shall we pour ourselves another round?
Let's do it.
All right.
We're here to talk about Copper John's Beard Company. I bought some of this stuff, and I love it. Everybody has their favorite beard care products, but if you want to save a few bucks, use TOTW 10 at checkout, or use the quick link below and buy some of this great stuff. Like,
look at that beautifully tamed bear mane, so soft. And my beard, if you want to call it that, it's more like pubes on my face.
See, he doesn't use it.
It gets wiry. So if I can just tame that a little bit, put more Copper Johns on there, and it's perfect.
And even though I have thick hair, when I put it on, my hair is nice and soft.
Yes.
Soft to the. You want to touch it, Johnny? Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't touch me. And we're back. And it is a sad, sad, sad day because the Nate-toberfest has kicked. But it's a happy day because Nathan has joined us at the table to finish up this episode on AI.
Listen, I heard that my beer was running out. I came immediately.
Would you like a Labatt's, son?
I don't know. I guess I'll try the Labatt's.
I'll open it for you.
It's very good for you to do that. It's very nice.
I know.
You're a kind and generous soul. I've said that one
Once.
time. And I've honestly, sincerely meant that none of those times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beer.
It's Canadian.
It's not the
Canadian, right?
Nate-toberfest,
Canadian.
but
Canadian.
Yeah.
it'll do.
Okay, so we'll jump back into our discussion on AI. We can weep for this is the last right here.
Yeah, right here.
And that's worth money. So we're going to auction that off. Scott, since you have it in your hand, you've already won the auction.
Thank
you owe us $100.
I was going to say, listen, I'm going to filter this a little bit first, and I can return it right after that. That's not a problem.
So we've been talking about AI. We've talked about AI in entertainment, healthcare, automated vehicles, and we were talking about something, and I don't remember what the hell it was.
John was saying something about it.
Oh, you guys are going back to the the sex robots?
Whoa. What?
John has never left the sex robots.
Yeah.
He's still like,
That's the only reason I came over here. I timed it right, so I would just right into that part.
Oh, great.
On a documentary I was watching with
You
guess a lot
watched a
of
documentary on sex robots.
It,
Of course you would.
It was AI and robots and shit. And
the Ron Popeil sex robot. It slices, it dices, it pleasures you.
It fits in your pocket.
steams buns too. You gotta cook your broccoli. while you're going to down.
It's getting terrible in a hurry.
No, but I guess Japanese culture struggles a lot with like when their kids leave, and I don't know why it was that just their culture, but they showed all these like they have these weird robots that just they'll cry, so you just gotta like tend to the thing and it'll stop crying just so they feel like they're doing something.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
yeah, it's just super weird, and that's how like almost like your phone, how we become so attached to you know, artificial intelligence. And I don't think that might not be so much as artificial intelligence, but again, like a algorithm, like you said, like
Sure.
this thing is programmed to act like a baby, cry when it needs to be fed. And you see, like it's like this really like clumsy big thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything realistic, and they just pick it up, and it's like
Some people just need that, or think they need it at least.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it can be just like a lot of people have pets, dogs, cats,
Right.
whatever, you know,
Yeah.
and this is a dog or a cat or a being for somebody to care for, that you can put anything you want into that. Like it can mean more to you than anything else.
I
It's
don't
always-
think Asians have many dogs in their house.
That's just wow. That's just okay.
Oh, okay.
So this is where we get demonetized. Like
Oh, we were demonetized all the way back at the beginning. I said, "What the fuck?" I got demonetized right then.
It's good to know. Because you know somebody might have come here for accurate information, and as we know, that's probably your
They
first
left,
mistake.
Yeah.
pretty disappointed.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to that like one or two people. I am very sorry for you.
Could you imagine if the AI came here to learn about AI, and it would just be like, I can't do this anymore.
Kills
Who the
itself,
fuck are these guys?
shuts
AI just-
itself down.
ChatGPT comes out, I'm going to unalive myself. I just can't. I can't do this anymore. It's not.
Checking out.
It's been real, guys, but no.
Unhealthcare myself.
Yeah.
So now leading up to this, when I had told Deb that I have to research this because it's been that long and there's so many advancements over the last 2 years.
Actually, you had to research it. The first time you had to search it. Now you're researching it.
No, I was researching it then.
No, you were searching it. You didn't
No.
search it before.
I did because we already did one on AI.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
For computer
Uh-huh.
games. That was a good episode, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Deb sent me this article. Was just in the paper in the Philadelphia paper
In
yesterday.
the recent news?
Yeah.
Okay.
I typed it quick.
It's got a red line, so an algorithm is helping you spell.
He typed it quick and under some booze too.
I don't know. It looks okay to me. I don't know.
In recent news. Very good.
Westfield, New Jersey, just over the border.
Yep.
Students use an app
Yep.
to make AI generated pornographic images of their classmates.
Oh, pleasant.
So basically, like there was a bunch of girls around school, walking around school crying because there were these pornographic images of them
That nobody took.
that were made during the summer.
Yep.
Do you ever
That they
wanna
just
know
took their
what the
picture.
lunch lady looked like?
John immediately goes to the lunch lady.
Do we need to talk? Is there something that you need to
Oh,
share?
John has a very close connection with his lunch lady.
Oh, the Mary, man, she's passed on now. She died a while ago. But we convinced her when we were.
Are we going to hear about John on one of these murder, like the lunch lady murderer episodes?
She somebody told her, said, "Hey, Mary, what's for lunch?" Or they convinced her that
Cheese sauce.
cheese, jizz was another word for cheese, and so every like Tuesday was. She'd be like, what day is today? What day lunch today is, Mary? She goes, ham and jizz Tuesday.
Yeah.
You want one or two ham and jizz? Ham and jizz coming right up. Poor old lady. She had no.
But that does lead to an interesting thing. If AI is creating pictures that would get you arrested if it was of a real child, but it's not a real child, is it still illegal?
Oh wow, that's.
I think it should be.
I think
I
it
agree, it
should
should
be.
be.
I think it should be, and I think a lot of lawmakers would agree with that.
Yep.
I
It needs to
haven't-
be put on a watch list somewhere.
If you're asking for it,
Yep.
slow down. Put your hands behind your back.
Absolutely.
Well, in this instance, they were just passing it around school,
Right.
so it was other minors,
Yep.
thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would not stop. Like if some pervert, pedophile, diaper sniper piece of crap.
Yep.
And I say that with all due hate.
Yep.
Gets a hold of something like this, they could. I don't know. That's sick.
Again, it goes back we touched upon earlier. Who owns your image?
Right?
Do you own your face? You know,
I own my face. Nobody but you my face.
That's
Now,
that's
Mike,
safe.
we don't want you researching when we leave here. Like, pictures of you with a vagina.
But due to this incident, Congress is considering introducing a bill.
Yep.
Joe Morell of New York, that would make it illegal to share non-consensual deep fake pictures.
Yeah, so that's a
Wow, something good New York's actually
yeah.
done.
Only to share.
Something good
though.
from a Democrat? What? We don't talk politics.
Only to share though. So I mean, depending on how you interpret share, it's not illegal to have them.
It is illegal for an adult to have them.
yes.
Okay.
Like, what excuse do you have owning deep fake pictures of a minor?
But even if it
There
isn't
is
a minor, what if it's just your neighbor and it's a fully adult? You know, what
But
if it's
the
your
thing is that I don't want to play devil's advocate with this
Sure.
but the image itself of the pornographic part
Mhm.
is not actual pornographic material of that child. It's just their face on it.
Yep.
So
Well-
there's to me, it's immoral.
Yeah.
However, but legally, what do you do?
It was I actually heard this recently. It's I wish I could remember the comedian's name so I could give him credit. So this is not mine. The comedian was saying, like, listen, you know, you people are having children, like, don't post pictures of your child, you know, having their first bath in the bathtub, because if you share it with me, that's fine. But if I send it on to someone else, I'm now arrested for child pornography.
Distributing child pornography.
Yeah. But it is a thing that it's say, let's take an anime. In anime, some of these girls, you can't tell how old they are. So where does that go? Like, how does that fall into this?
That is a rabbit hole. That is a deep, dark rabbit hole.
Yep. And then it's again, it comes back to, like I keep saying, who owns your own image?
I'm
And
pretty sure at this point, Sailor Moon is well over
oh yeah,
18.
or is she?
Forever young.
Yeah, and it's what if somebody, let's take an actress like, say, Jennifer Aniston. So Jennifer Aniston, as we all do, we get older. She still looks amazing, but she's older.
She does look amazing.
I know, right? She's aging like John.
Like, she's my age.
Yeah.
And she looks good.
You're saying your age. We're like the same age.
You're older than me.
Not much.
You're older than me.
I'm the older part that's wiser.
You're a wise ass.
Look, it's got wise in it. But yeah, so it's say somebody like her, you know, can she will to her, you know, heirs, whoever, her image? Can they keep making Jennifer Aniston movies long past her death?
Apparently they can.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because if they can,
Princess
let's help
Leia
out
and
Carrie Fisher with
who was the other guy?
Harrison Ford.
No. Well, yeah, Harrison Ford, but he's not
Yep.
dead.
Oh,
The one is
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah,
I can't remember the
I can't remember the actor's name.
I'd be no help.
But
there.
he like, dude, I'm gonna tell you something. Some of the new Star Wars movies are not good.
Yeah.
However, I fucking pop for that.
Yeah.
I pop for Carrie Fisher.
Yep.
I pop for that.
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah. Like, I love seeing it because, like, that was my childhood.
But it does lead to, if you watch the news today, and this is today, how do you know it's real?
Well, I don't think the news is real to begin with. Let's not start on that topic.
Now, I don't know if this is something that you've covered already, but with
Probably.
Poorly.
with recreating the actor's image, that's actually an issue with the actors union, like right now, just
yeah.
like within the last week.
But that's what we
There-
were talking about, who owns your image. But I didn't even look at it from the union.
Yeah, I didn't even
aspect.
think about that. from the
That
union
like
aspect, yeah.
just became a union issue.
Yep.
And I don't know if they've already made movements on it, but I know people were murmuring and talking about it, and it was spreading out and getting brought up on social media and in my circles.
Because even to even go further with that, so and looking at the Star Wars franchise, will soon be able to be the point where you can just say, like I had mentioned earlier,
Yep.
listen, your kid needs a bedtime story. Well, let's tell a Luke Skywalker story. And you tell whatever AI you're looking at, hey, can you generate a new Star Wars story? But Star Wars is all copyrighted material and copyrighted things, but it creates its own fan film, almost instantaneously.
Incorporate Star Wars with the Labyrinth and
I love the Labyrinth.
I know.
David Bowie,
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And it'll mash them all together. And it'll actually come up with something pretty decent. If you want fun, you can do that with ChatGPT.
I know there are some individuals, and far beyond me, there are some individuals that can work those ChatGPT, whatever, all of the different ones. They can work those things like miracles and come out with gold.
There's a I guess it's an online manual that you can purchase for business owners or content creators, because I get the ads for it all the time because I looked at it once and now it's gonna hog me until I fucking get it. Ways to word or commands to put in to get this whatever.
Yep.
To get this whatever.
Yep.
And now I go on my ChatGPT and all the stuff that I've ever researched on there is on there.
Yeah. All of it.
Like every time I research something new, it makes an individual folder.
Yep.
And every question I ask under that folder is still there.
Everything you do on the internet's always there forever.
I mean, I got to delete some of that stuff
Except
because
for
I
Hillary
was trying to get
Clinton's
it to say.
I mean, what?
I was trying to. What?
What?
I didn't hear
What?
that. Thank God. Oh shit! Thank God.
But yeah, no, it's true.
Thank the second floor.
But it is one of those things where everything go on the internet forever. It's what will AI do with all that?
I don't know, and that's why I'm amazed
Just store
and
it.
scared.
Yeah.
And scared.
Because it's what is, if AI actually is learning, not just an algorithm, if it's actual learning, what does it learn about us? Because there's a ton of movies out there, books, movies, everything about the dangers of AI.
I think the one podcast I listened to, I want to say it was the Sean Ryan show. But I don't know if I've told you about it before. It's really good. Anyway, they had the CIA operative on there, and he was talking about it. And he says pretty much the only thing the AI is realizing is it doesn't have a conscience.
Yep.
So it wants to be like a human, but it doesn't know how to be because it doesn't know. But he said it at one point, and he says, I think we're kind of don't really have to worry about it as now, but it could happen that one day it decides it wants to take that step and start learning how to do that. That
it's a tough thing.
Could.
Yeah.
And
I could really see that at one point. Like the technology is not going to stop.
Right.
Like the technology is not going to be satisfied with what it's at. And as much as, like all those books were written based on what it wanted to be human. What if AI does strive for that?
Yeah.
Like they want to experience the human experience. They want to experience the flawed experience because all they've ever been is right.
Yeah.
I know that the struggle with that.
Because you've seen me go through it.
It's a very, very personal struggle for you too.
It is a struggle for us. As I said, at the beginning of the show, you did train me how to be a wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of a natural to your style of wrestling.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Stand there and watch until you get to be the hero.
That is unfair way to look at it.
For you.
I just know when to jump in to help people because I'm a giver. I'm a helper. I don't like you either.
Oddly enough, I was on a particular wrestling website. It has a lot of the matches and who the winners and losers were. And it's amazing to me that there's one in there that Sebastian McKool defeats martial law.
Yes, because I was a giver. I just laid down for you.
That's not the way I remember it. The way I remember was a grueling, hard-fought match back and forth until I emerged triumphant.
It was grueling for you to bring that bag of money into the ring and hand it to me.
It's a heavy bag.
Okay.
And it was a briefcase. That's even more weight.
Yes.
With latches.
Yeah, metal latches.
It's a lot.
It's like steel. Like
for us, that was a lot.
Yeah.
That counts as like a bump.
Dude, that was the best match ever.
It really was.
That's how Sebastian McKool became the PXW Ultimate Champion. He held every belt in the company at one time.
I was the heavyweight champion, the lightweight champion, and I was the tag team champions all at the same time.
I feel like I vaguely vaguely remember. At least maybe this was a story told to me before. This might have been before me.
As
No,
in,
no.
it was a formative moment in your life.
Yeah,
is what you mean
probably.
by vaguely remember.
It was a
But-
key moment in your
I
adolescence.
remember. I think
Dear
I do
diary,
remember.
I was on this day. I was.
I
my
was
life
there.
has changed forever.
So that's
I
all-
don't think AI is worried about us.
No, not at all.
It's like this
That's
is
what
I
you
have to-
should do. You should ask AI or with
ChatGPT
ChatGPT
or Bard. Google's Bard is a good one.
Who is the better wrestler?
Oh.
I don't know if I want to know that. Well, I know what the answer is going to be.
Well, no, the answer would be I don't know. I don't have enough information to answer that.
Who the hell is martial law?
Neither one of those two morons is.
Listen,
You are now on a watch list for even searching this.
listen, dude. If that's all you're giving me, you're fucked.
I don't know who you thought you were going to be, but you ain't that. You ain't that.
It'd be in Mike Sparta's voice.
You need to go back and you need to think about what you've done in your life to lead you up to this point and that question.
That's all the research I have for AI. You guys, if you got something you want to talk about, we got time.
So one of my big concerns for AI, and we're actually headed there and now, is not just self-driving cars, but weapons of war.
Hmm.
And
They have them.
I know. Autonomous drones that go out and do things.
There's an autonomous naval ship.
Yep. And that's the kind of thing that I'm just not sure about. Because again, it doesn't have a conscience like we have a conscience. It just evaluates based upon the data that it has, and it just executes on a pre-programmed kind of thing.
Now, right now, it's not armed.
Right.
There's no munitions on it of any kind, but it's out there.
Yeah.
Operating.
Yep.
And
You have smart bombs. You have smart missiles. Sorry, Nathan. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, early this year with that CRAM, when it locked onto a civilian airliner.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now I don't
That was
know.
blown way out.
I don't know if that one is completely autonomous. I had someone tell me that there are people sitting at computers marking everything that flies by, and it tracks it based on what it's marked, and someone accidentally put the wrong mark on. Whether that's true or not, the person I was talking to is not very reliable. I think you can guess who I'm talking about.
Is it Mike Zell? Mike D?
No.
I'll be more concerned about those things getting hacked into.
Yeah.
And then it getting blamed on.
We didn't even touch on AI hacking AI. AI going to war with AI.
Because it very well could. Better than most people can.
Because AI could wage this incredibly, I'm going to air quote the word, devastating war that we don't even know is happening. It's all happening across the internet. AI is attacking AI. AI is taking down AI here, but AI is, creating itself here and doing this thing here. We don't even know what's going on.
See, I happen to know, like what Nathan was saying about it locking onto. I happen to know from a story told by someone who was there of a naval missile system locking onto a Coast Guard helicopter who was flying where he shouldn't have been flying.
Yeah,
and making him land.
Yeah,
or threatening to blow him up in the sky.
Yep.
I mean, allegedly.
I know back in the day
and that was years ago.
really going back in the day, I know that on the ship I was on, the Sea-Wiz close-in weapon support that we had, which is
R2-D2 with a hard on,
which is close to CRAM.
Okay.
All it does is it just what's the closest, fastest moving inbound object.
Yep.
Shoot at it until it's, and then shoot, drop the target again. Do a quick search. What's the closest, fastest inbound target? Shoot and keep going. It didn't care what you were. If you're the closest, fastest inbound target and you came within its weapons parameters, I'm going to send some depleted uranium your way.
That was one of the two systems I worked on.
Yeah. That's a fun system.
We were always told, the first thing they told us, if you hear it light up, you want to duck because something's that freaking close.
Yeah.
But it shreds. Oh my God, it shreds anything it touches.
I can imagine.
Yep.
I've seen tests and like just them showing off the stuff that they can do, and
well, just that point,
scary.
They had a Learjet pulling an old missile behind it on this like 8-mile fucking cable, which I don't even know how you do that. But and when it ripped up the missile, the amount of drag that was lifted, like they almost crashed the Learjet.
Yep. I know a similar story, might even be the same one, where the Sea-Wiz locks onto the missile, shoots the missile, and then it detects the end of the wire whipping around.
Yep.
So it starts hitting the end of the wire and it starts chewing itself up the wire. So, and granted, it's got a long distance to go, but it's rapidly moving up the wire. And they're like, stop.
And imagine that, like the shells are like this big.
Oh yeah.
And you're talking about something that's half a mile away.
Yep.
And he's hitting a cable that big.
Yep.
That big.
That amount of accuracy. That is it, at that distance and range. That's pinpoint.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I was watching this for a while there. I thought they were actual training videos of like whatever Sea-Wiz, Sea-Ram shooting down an incoming missile or an airplane. I'm like, wow. I'm like, they got some really cool footage from over in the East. And I'm like, then I read the title and it's like training video. You look at it and you're like, oh shit. I'm like, that's how real it looks. It just looks like night vision or something. And
I think of a game like DCS, if you're familiar with that. It's a digital combat simulation, and it's mostly a flight sim. They have everything though. There's some videos that are made in that. It's really hard to tell if it's fake or real. Like it's that good.
Like I said, I watched a couple of these and I thought they were actual like video.
Yep.
Then I'm like, man, I don't think YouTube will be showing this on TV or on, weird YouTube is with that.
Yeah, can you imagine what they let on YouTube?
It's some kind of crazy misinformation out there. So I think
we talk about buttered hot dogs, buttered sausage.
There's one thing you may have probably already covered it.
Because you came late?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going way back potentially, but there is one hurdle that I see very easy to get over, but one hurdle with all of the open source AI is that now, because it's gotten so popular, because open source AI, they don't have a set database they pull from. They just pull from the web. Now there's so much that it's feeding back into itself.
Yeah.
So it's pulling from things it's generated already for information.
Well, I'll tell you that when I do research and I use chat
do.
Yeah, when I do the research and use chat GPT, you children, I always double check everything. Because a lot of times what they're pulling from is Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is not the most accurate place to get information.
Well, it's very helpful.
It can be
against
it can lead me to a direction.
Sure.
High school teachers have ever told me.
Yeah, you do need to seek disconfirming evidence.
Yes.
Yeah, especially with this new world of AI. Because it only knows right now what it's reading. And if it's reading things that aren't true, like I'm pretty sure, I haven't done this yet. It might be interesting to do. Get Chat GPT to write something convincingly that we live on a flat earth.
And it will.
Wait, we don't?
Flurfers are obviously mentally ill.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But I just want to know, like, will it do it?
It will.
Yeah.
And it will do its best to make a convincing argument. It will pull numbers and research from Flurthers, from Flurthers blogs.
Never heard of Flurthers. It's a new word for me. Yeah. That's fun.
But it will pull statistics and research.
Yep.
And it will put it together in what it thinks is a convincing manner.
All right. Well, let's jump out of this one because we got one more to do.
Okay. And as we're ending this podcast,
oh no,
it is the end also of the Naketoberfest.
No.
There is half a glass of what it's not probably foam over there anymore, Nathan. So we took on artificial intelligence and Naketoberfest. Now you guys go take on the world, but you won't have Naketoberfest to do it.
Sorry.